USA Wrestling right now on the men's freestyle side, you think about the number of legends that have been holding down spots year after year after year for USA Wrestling, which is a great thing because these are guys that are going overseas and they're coming back with a tournament nearly every single year. Kyle Snyder, Kyle Dake, Jordan Burroughs, David Taylor. These guys have been going and consistently winning year after year after year. But you wonder when these guys are gone, because time, is undefeated, and eventually these guys are going to be out of the mix. What kind of future does USA Wrestling have? Because do we have the depth of a Russia? Maybe, maybe not. And there were definitely periods of time, definitely not. But now, as you're looking at the landscape and you're starting to maybe be a little more relaxed about life after Dake and Burroughs and David Taylor and Kyle Snyder, and we don't know when that day is, right? We know Jordan's going to be done after 2024. But for the others, they haven't declared, hey, this is an end date or this is when I'll be done. But we know the day is coming. It's approaching. We're closer to it than we were when they started their careers. We can at least safely say that. But now you look at the landscape of wrestling in America, and while it's not as clear who's going to be taking the mantle at some of these weights, you can't help but feel very assured that USA Wrestling is going to be in great hands down the line. You look at the 2021 trials, there were 0 high schoolers that qualified for the Olympic trials. You look at 2024 and there's 5. You look at overall the number of college wrestlers at Olympic trials. In college and high school wrestlers, in 2024 there's like 21 that are going to be competing. And I'm not saying I'm not even talking about like an Aaron Brooks. Aaron Brooks has graduated, so he's done. But a month ago he was in college. I'm talking about guys that are in the middle of their college careers. There's 21 college and high school wrestlers that are in the Olympic trials. And these aren't guys that are just throwing their hat in the ring. These are wrestlers that are going to be absolute contenders down the line. And between what we're seeing at the high school level, where coaching has never been better, you've got the P&L crew with M2 and Young Guns and Askren, Seabolt, Gilroy with Cormier and those crew, and Pinnacle, of course, Izzy Styles. So many elite clubs and elite coaches that are developing these guys, and they're developing them rapidly. And they're ready to go, not just for college, they're ready to go and compete because there's such emphasis nationally around freestyle wrestling. It wasn't always that way. It used to be there were some major folk style tournaments those were your main goals to win as an elite high school wrestler. Not so anymore. We've talked about this at length. Making those cadet and junior teams, winning Fargo, those are the ultimate statuses within high school wrestling. That and a Super 32 title, those are the biggest things you can do basically in terms of proving yourself. And so these wrestlers are spending significant time developing freestyle skills, and they have such confidence behind them that I went to the last chance qualifier and I talked to of course, Bo Bassett and Jax Forrest, but I also talked to Anthony Knox and Mirasola and Aiden Sinclair and all these wrestlers. It's not like, oh, I'll see how I do. It's like, why not? I know I can compete with these guys. I know where I stand. I really believe I can compete at this level. So that belief and that confidence, I really feel is gonna, it's gonna keep guys' senior level windows wider. It's not gonna start, the senior level window is not gonna be starting for these wrestlers, once I graduate from college. That's been gone, right? We've been seeing, we've had Yannis and Vitos and Daytons and others that have contended. I mean, Kyle Snyder was on the team from his sophomore year on. Gable Steveson won in the middle of his college career, right? So we're seeing the windows for senior level competition are widening. And the windows for being a viable competitor is moving from, you have to be probably 21, 22. Now we're seeing 17-year-olds beating seasoned vets of the game, guys that have made national teams and challenge tournament finals, et cetera, et cetera. We're seeing those guys wrestle at that level. So that confidence, that's gonna multiply. Because there was a time where you would say in like 2016, you had a Pico, right? Aaron Pico. And Aaron was just a phenom, right? He stood out so much from the competition. He was one of the first guys to say, I'm not going to do high school, my last couple of years. I'm going to be done. Henry Cejudo did that in 2006 or 7 or so, and really no one had really attempted it since, and Pico did it, and he made an Olympic trials final. He was a phenom. Now these guys, they're not phenoms. They're just that many guys that are that good, because phenom requires like separation. If you're a high school phenom, then you are so separated from your peers. You look at 57 kilograms, Marcus Blaze, Luke Lillidahl, Jax Forrest, they're peers. And throw Anthony Knox in there. He didn't qualify, but throw him in there, right? These lightweights are elite. You think of Bo Bassett. Is Bo Bassett a phenom? Well, he's exceptional, but all these guys are exceptional. Bo Bassett's taken losses as a high schooler to other high schoolers, right? So we're not being treated to, wow, these guys are just far and away superior to every other high schooler. No. High school wrestling is just that good, and the best of the best high schoolers can contend at the senior level. And it's just not really been like that in the past. And that's only going to continue as other now middle schoolers and early high schoolers, they're going to see Jax and Bo and Joe Seeley and Sinclair, Mirasola, Knox, Lillidahl, and they're going to say, well, I can do that. That can be me, no doubt. I train alongside these guys. I have the same coaches. So that belief is just going to beget more belief and more contenders. And then we're going to see a widening of that senior level talent pool. And that can only mean great things for USA Wrestling on the international stage, as we're looking to eventually, and I'm not trying to rush these guys out. I hope they continue to compete. I don't want Jordan Burroughs to retire in 2024. I don't want Dake to retire. I don't want David Taylor to retire. But ultimately, that's going to happen at some point, and you can't help but feel like by 24, 28, 32, whenever it is, we're going to be in just as good of hands as we are today, which is something where a couple years ago, I'm not sure I would have said that. I would have said, hey, we're at a golden age of USA Wrestling, and we're not likely to backfill these legends with other legends. But seeing what I'm seeing at the high school level, we just might.